Good morning, everybody, and welcome again to Week 16 on a football Sunday. Hey, Ron, how are you? I know you said you didn't have a great start, but go ahead, continue now.
Had some faith that the Vikings could do something this week. Kind of knew where the game was going with Tampa Bay, and then really expected Miami to not play that way. They've covered a lot of spreads for me this year. They let me down this week, bud. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping we have a lot of different picks today so I can get back on track.
Two of the savior not doing it for you?
Not yesterday. Not yesterday.
So we're going to be a little bit different today. I'm sure as everybody sees, Jeff is not here. Our producer, he is on his way to a little vacay on his way down to Florida. So we don't have graphics. So me and Aaron are just going to shout out the games. We're going to give our picks. Try to blast through them fast, get to the Eagles game, which I know I don't have a ton to say about. If they lose this week, I don't know that I'm going to talk about them the rest of the year. That's just
a win-win. It's a win-win. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll let you start, brother. What game we want to start with?
All right, so we got Cleveland at the Jets. The Jets are +6.5. So based off of what happened last week, first of all, Cleveland just got hit with the COVID bug. So I don't know if you've looked at the recent injury report, Justin. All four of their starting wide receivers are on the COVID list. Everyone is probably betting on the Browns this week, especially if they put their bets in early. Sam Darnold beat the Rams last week somehow. I don't want to call this game a trap game, but I think when you're down all of your skill positions plus one of your starting offensive linemen, you don't have anybody to throw to, and the Jets actually aren't a bad run defense. This is setting up for, I don't know if it's going to be an upset, but they know you're running and you don't have any skill guys. I have to take the Jets +6.5 with Sam Darnold needing something to play for and everybody on the Browns out of the game. And so we made these lines last night, and it's obviously moved a little bit, Justin, based off that information. Who do you have?
I got to take Cleveland. I can't listen. I don't disagree with any of the ration you just used. I get it. I understand when you've got guys out. This is Adam Gase and the Jets. I don't think that it matters if the Jets know you're running or don't know you're running. I know that the numbers skew to look good for them against the run. Cleveland can't win this game by less than 10 points. They just can't. I know the Rona's hit, but they look like a better team. They're vying for a playoff run. They got to win by 10. It's the Jets. They have to. All the reason and ration that you just gave me, I understand. But my reason and ration says that if you're the Cleveland Browns and you don't win against the Jets by at least 10, pack up the wagon, bro. Send it home and don't come back.
Yeah, you know what's weird is a lot of games this year that seemed like they were going to be spankings because of people getting put on the COVID list. Those teams, for whatever reason, have ended up performing really well, even with a bunch of guys on the COVID list and some replacements. They just kind of give full effort. I have to take the 6.5 points and hope that they can cover.
I get it.
So we got next game, Cincinnati at Houston. Houston -7 in Houston. Who do you got?
I'll start this one. Cincinnati's going to cover, and this is my upset of the week. I think Cincinnati wins this game. I know it's brazen. I'm aware. But guess what? The New York Jets won last week, so crazier shit's happened. I think that Cincinnati's really in a position to start trying to figure out what they've got there. Houston has nothing left to play for. They have nothing past Deshaun Watson. He says, I'm not touching that Browns game. Tori, I don't disagree with you, bro. I think everybody in the world's probably going to agree with that one. Too much Rona in that game. No, but the Bengals, bro, for me, I think that they've got more. They have more to learn and more to figure out. Houston right now is a team that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They have a good quarterback, which we've seen. Deshaun Watson can be the guy, but it seems like they have no will to put anything around him. They don't have any other skill position players. Their offensive line isn't that great. They just seem to be like a team that's on the decline, that's going to be bad for the next couple of seasons, where I think Cincinnati, once Joe Burrow comes back, are planning to be a playoff contender. So I think Cincinnati's really going to show out this week and see what they've got along that roster. And I think Cincinnati's going to win this game outright. So I'm going to take the 7 because they're there. But I have Cincinnati plus 7.
I am glad that we're 2 for 2, bud, because I need to work my way back into this thing. So Watson they lost last week to the Colts by 6, first off, but Watson threw for 372 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Colts. Cincinnati is obviously a worse defense than them. That was last week was the Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl. They got up against the division rival, gave it everything they had, pulled out the win. And their defense, I just think, is going to get torched by Houston, even though they don't have a lot of skill players in there. Watson's just been that good. He's actually going to be on pace just to throw for over 30 touchdowns and under 10 interceptions this year. Some fucking how. I don't know how, but that's what he's going to do. Tied out for another week. Mixon's still out. I would tease this line to be safe. But Houston -7 in this game. Colts +1 at Pittsburgh.
This one was the easiest game. This one was the easiest game for me. So go ahead, by all means, go ahead.
All right. So the lines changed for this one, actually, Justin. The Pittsburgh, they were obviously the underdog starting, and for whatever reason, the line shifted, and the Colts are a point. And I looked at this game, and I'm like, how the fuck could I not take the Colts getting a point? But, bud, this game scares the shit out of me because who played in San Diego for all these years, now plays in a dome. It's 21 degrees. The Colts are a dome team. They beat a depleted Houston team by 6 or 7 points. Watson torched them. Pittsburgh just got embarrassed last week by the Cincinnati Bengals with a backup quarterback. The Steelers are not going to be happy. I don't see Mike Tomlin letting them do this for 4 straight weeks. And I am taking the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh,
I know that sounds crazy, especially as a favorite. And I'm glad that we once again disagree. This is a trap game. Everybody's going to be on the Colts.
I got not a fucking trap game, bro.
-1.
All right.
I'm actually very confident in this game.
Pittsburgh is a bad team. We need to call a spade here. Pittsburgh is a bad team. Pittsburgh is a bad football team. Pittsburgh is a bad football team. They have TJ Watt as a defender, and that's they are a bad football team. They had a weak schedule. They ran into a couple teams that dealt with Corona. They looked really good for 11 weeks. They were undefeated. Now they're coming back to earth. There's no way that the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game. There's no reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers are favored to win this game. I get that Phillip Rivers at 38 years old and the statue that he is playing in 21-degree weather is concerning. I'll give you. So I'm not going to say that this is a 10-point blowout by the Colts for that reason. But Indianapolis is going to win this game, bro. Indy +1. Easy. Give me the better team and the points, and I'm supposed to say no? No way. Indianapolis wins this game outright, no problem.
Big trap. -7.5 at Jacksonville. Who you got to start this one off?
So Jacksonville is now looking like the front runner for the Trevor Lawrence Bowl, which is changing the dynamic of a lot of these games that are going to be played the next 2 weeks. The New York Jets are just – you want to talk about the worst franchise in the history of sports. The New York Jets have got to be it. How do you mess this one up? You had one job.
Them and the Knicks.
Yeah, you had one job. I don't understand how this happened. So Jacksonville's not playing for anything other than a franchise quarterback. That's what they're going out week by week for right now, and it's to lose. Chicago's going to cover 7.5. Jacksonville's going to be lucky to score 7 to 10 points. I think Chicago probably puts up 21. I'm looking at a 21-7, 21-10 win. Chicago covers easy for me.
Yeah, like I hate the 7.5 lines because it's like Vegas is like baiting you into taking the underdog. But just the way that Mitch Trubisky's been playing the last couple of weeks, the Bears also have a much better defense than Jacksonville does. Who's back in, but Jacksonville has a ton of injuries, and the one player that they can actually rely on consistently week by week is James Robinson. He's out for the game. I like the Bears to cover this too. I'll get that to the 7.5. I would make this line 6.5 instead of 7.5, but I think this is going to be a 10 to 13 point game, and people might not even have to worry about that. Giants plus 10.5 at Baltimore. So I'll start this one off. This is a big line for a team that's looked like for most of the year they've had a pretty good defense. Baltimore is very hot right now. They have a lot to play for. They've put up 34 or more points in the last 3 games. Both teams are trying to sneak into the playoffs. Baltimore is absolutely rolling. It worries me, Justin, because I feel like in the fourth quarter, I see, for whatever reason, this is the scenario I thought of. I can see in the fourth quarter, this game being like 27-10, Baltimore just wanting to keep their guys healthy going into the next game and just giving up that touchdown to make it 27-17 and the Giants covering that. I'm going to go against a what-if thought process, and I'm going to go with Baltimore, lay the points. The Giants looked really good for a couple weeks, looked really good, but they do not anymore, and Baltimore's looked great. 2 teams going in the opposite direction.
So we keep disagreeing. We only agree on Chicago so far, so that's bueno. That's good.
Perfect. Perfect.
10.5 is too much for me. I don't believe in Baltimore enough. I think that Joe Judge is a good enough coach. He's going to hold this team in contention. I think the Giants lose. I don't think they have a chance at winning this game, but I agree with you. I see this being a 7 or an 8 point victory, potentially a 10, and that half-point teaser helps me out. I'm going to take the points, but Baltimore is going to win this game. I just don't think it's going to be by 10 or more.
You have to make sure you get it under 10. Atlanta plus 10.5 at Kansas City. Who do you got?
Kansas City is going to crush this team. Kansas City is going to win this game by 14-20. Kansas City is going to destroy this team. We're 2 weeks away from the playoffs. KC's going to have a bye. They're going to spend the next 2 weeks stepping on everyone's throat, making sure that their offense is being executed correctly, making sure that their defense is executing correctly. So when that first round bye comes, they don't have a layoff into the divisional round. This is a 14 to 17 point game to me. It's not going to be close. Atlanta does not have anything close to a competitive roster compared to Kansas City. I think that this is a 35 to 13 romping by Kansas City.
One of us is going to have a really good week, bud, and one of us is going to have a really bad.
He's taking Atlanta.
KC at home against a very bad pass defense looks like a setup for a blowout, but Kansas City has lost a year against teams with good passing offenses, and their pass defense isn't great either. I just like the Falcons to cover here, even if it's in the fourth quarter, winding down the game. It's one of those things, again, that I just think is going to
be. He's going to be 1-13, bro. Just wait. He'll get there.
I don't think so. It's going to be reversed. But one of us is going to lose. One of us is going to win. I got Atlanta. They haven't really missed a step. Julio. Kansas City's just they're squeaking by a lot of teams because they're so good. They're not. I almost want to pick them for they can blow out every team every week. Do we agree? I mean, Kansas City is that good that I feel like if they were, foot to the gas pedal, they can blow. They just haven't done that all year, and especially against good passing offenses. Closer game than 10.5 points. I'll take Atlanta plus the points. Carolina at Washington. Carolina's +1, Washington -1. Who do you got?
So this one is a game time decision for Alex Smith. So that to me is the problem. We don't know if he's going to play or not. If Alex Smith plays, I can see Washington winning this game. If Alex Smith doesn't play, 1 point is not nearly enough for a spread, even though it's still going the wrong direction. I have Carolina +1. I think Carolina is going to win this game outright by 3 to 5 points. I don't think it's going to be a crushing defeat like a 21-17, 21-18 type of game. I don't. If Alex Smith is not playing quarterback, I can't pick the Washington football team, and I don't think he's going to play. I know he's a game time decision. But I've got Carolina +1 because I think they're going to win outright.
I fucking love this so much right now. So Washington's had some good wins recently. Washington's had some good wins recently. But lost to Seattle. They did hold Seattle to only 20 points. Dwayne Haskins obviously it looks like he's still going to be in at QB. I don't think Alex Smith will play. We'll see. The Panthers are reeling right now. They lost to the Packers, Broncos, and Vikings the last 3 weeks. They have one win, Justin, since October 11th, and that was against the Lions, 20-0.
Time to get their second.
Ron Rivera is still the coach. They still have a good defense that they can rely on. It's going to be a very low-scoring game. I'm going to give the point to Carolina. I like the Skins at home -1. Denver +3.5 at the Chargers. I'll start this one off, bud. So,
why don't you start this one?
Yeah, I got it. I can't wait. Matchup in October. The score was 31-30. It's two bad teams, so I kind of like when two evenly matched teams split. At home with the better QB. I don't love the line, but I think the Chargers can win by a touchdown. Keenan Allen looks like he'll be playing. Bradley Chubb's out. Phillip Lindsay out. Chargers actually have a respectable pass defense. It's not great, but it is respectable. They also played last Thursday, so I think days to prepare for Denver. So I'm going to take the Chargers. I don't love the spread, but I will give the 3.5 points to Denver.
I'm going to take the 3.5 points for Denver because Denver's probably going to win this game outright by 3 points. Denver's a better team right now. The Chargers just lost to the Jets.
They have the same record. Who's a better team? They have
stop. The Chargers lost to the Jets.
They're both bad.
The Chargers lost to the Jets. That's all that needs to be said. Denver plus 3.5 next game.
But the Rams lost to the Jets, not the Chargers.
I'm sorry. You're right. That's my next game. Listen, Justin Herbert is going to be the best Justin Herbert is going to be the best quarterback out of this draft. Do we agree with that? Leaving Joe Burrow aside?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The LA Chargers have a chance at becoming a good team, a relevant team again. They have the chance. Denver and LA are the exact same team to me. I agree with you. They're both poor teams with not great coaching. With
the point,
I can't call Drew Lock a journeyman yet, but that's what Drew Lock is going to be. Drew Lock is not a franchise quarterback like Justin Herbert's going to be. But you also have a better, more complete team in Denver. I can't take the worst team while giving points because they're both the worst team. So I'm going to get points one way or the other. I have to take Denver. I have to take the team that's probably going to win the defensive battle. So I can't. This is going to be a fucked up record for one of us, bud. One of us is going to be real bad this week.
Yeah, real bad. Yeah.
How about the Seattle game? I can't wait to hear your ration for this one.
Okay, so the Rams just lost to the Jets last week. This is my lock of the week. There is no chance that the Rams lose to Seattle this week. There's no shot. If you get embarrassed by the worst team in the league, there is no shot. I think Seattle is way worse than they were at the beginning of the year. The offense has gotten worse. The defense has gotten a little bit better. The Rams are coming in as underdogs, getting a point. I just don't know if you're the Rams and Sean McVay, how your team can come up flat in this game. I'm taking the Rams plus the point.
You lost to the Jets.
I love this game. My lock of the week. Love it.
You lost to the Jets last week, and you're trying to tell me that Russell Wilson's not going to beat you? I don't have much to add. I don't have a whole lot to add. Here's all I'm going to say. You lost to the Jets and Sam Darnold 7 days ago. You're going to lose to Russell Wilson. That's going to happen. Lay the point because it's going to be a 7-point victory for Seattle at the least. I don't believe in Jared Goff. I don't think that Sean McVay has any fucking idea what he's got in that roster right now. I think they have a lot of talented guys and zero cohesion and no understanding of what to do. You just lost to the Jets.
Lock.
So obviously I'm going Seattle -1, and I'm going to match you. You know what I'm going to do? My upset is Cincinnati. My lock of the week is Russell Wilson fucks up the Rams. The wins by 7 or more. That's the lock. Fucking lunatic.
I can't wait, bud.
Green Bay -3. What's next?
I think we might agree on this one. I just have a feeling that we might agree on this
It's
one.
Green Bay -3. Tennessee hasn't shown me anything to believe that they're going to beat Aaron Rodgers in December.
We disagree. So this. We talked about this earlier in the year, actually, Justin, and I said this to you, and I think you've seen it throughout the year, and maybe you just forgot.
Oh boy,
This is Green Bay's chance to prove me wrong, because like I've said to you, I hate the Packers when they go against strong lines. And Tennessee's offensive line with Derrick Henry runs the football very well. When they play teams, and it's happened over the last 3 years, that take on the grit of their coach and are good on the offensive and or defensive line, Green Bay ends up getting bullied and pushed around the entire game. It's cold as hell in Green Bay. I know Green Bay is used to it, but Derrick Henry's there, and Tennessee's also the better running football team. So I take these points in a hurry, and I love this game for Tennessee.
Torrey agrees with you. I don't see the same thing. I agree with the first sentence you said. This is Green Bay's opportunity to show that they're a real contender in the NFC, especially after New Orleans just fucking demolished the Minnesota Vikings the way that they did. You need to come out and make a statement, and this is Aaron Rodgers' game. So I got to roll with Aaron Rodgers. I have to believe that against Tennessee, who has been exposed throughout the season, 6 weeks ago we picked Tennessee as a team that could make some noise. That's the Colts now in the AFC. It's not the Titans anymore. And the Titans are a beatable team. They're easy to figure out. Hey, look at Jeff. So we miss you, buddy. I hope the drive's going well. So Green Bay has one shot at showing themselves as the second team in the NFC. There's no way they're overtaking New Orleans until they beat them straight up. But to show themselves as the second biggest threat in the NFC, this is the game.
I hate this.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's a terrible game. I don't like the line. I don't like any of it. But this is an Aaron Rodgers game. The last 2 weeks, you and Jeff have good comment, Jeff. Is where I was going. The last 2 weeks, you and Jeff have been telling me how great Aaron Rodgers is. That Aaron Rodgers is the guy and he's the MVP.
What we said is the only reason that Green Bay is respectable is what we said. He is great.
Aaron Rodgers has the ability this week to cement those feet in the front runner of the MVP spot and beat this team in December. Yeah. And I got to take him. I have to. We got one more before the Eagles game, bud. Let's move on to the next one.
We'll move on. I love Tennessee. Bills -7 at New England. Who do you got?
Oh, you're going first. This is a New England game. You're not asking me to talk first. Go ahead.
The Bills won by 3 at home last time these teams played. I believe it was week 8. It was in Buffalo. This game's in New England. I usually like division games to flip-flop, Justin, but I just don't think the Patriots have enough offensively or defensively really to win. The line's hard because every time Josh Allen seems to have a couple great games, he has a couple bad ones. Last time they played, he had 154 yards and an interception. That was his stat line. He didn't do well at all. Kind of worries me that the Patriots have nothing to play for, but Cam does have jobs to play for next year. I don't love giving New England 7 at home, but I just have to take the Bills this year. I will give the 7 points. I know you're surprised by that because I've been taking New England against the line all year. But I'm taking the Bills -7.
So, Jeff, tell Aaron Rodgers that I'm not endorsing him. I just think that he'll beat the Titans. So I don't disagree with anything you said. Buffalo is the better team. New England is a team that's trying to figure it out. I personally think, and obviously as the season ends and we get into off-season stuff, I think that New England is going to be the front-running team to try to get Carson Wentz and get a real quarterback in that city. I think New England's really not trying to spoil anybody. Buffalo's obviously already basically locked up that division. They're going to be the team to beat in that division. I don't think Bill Belichick is going to like the fact that he walks in knowing he's going to lose this game. But Josh Allen in Buffalo, I mean, again, I know I just got done saying that if Aaron Rodgers wins this week, he cements himself as the front runner.
There's guys up there. There's 3 guys that can win the MVP over the next 2 weeks.
If Josh Allen comes out and beats New England by 14 points in week 16, and carries this team through a 13-3 record, I'm telling you, I need somebody to present me an argument where a 12-4 Green Bay team is more impressive than a 13-3 Buffalo team. not because of the record, but because of the team, because of the history, because of what those franchises have known, because of what they've done. Josh Allen, if the season ended today, gets my vote for MVP. I think what he's put together is nothing short of unbelievable. I think the connection he's got with Stephon Diggs is fucking crazy. I think that you've got a real contending team in Buffalo. As they say any given Sunday, Buffalo is the team to me right now that could catch Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes sleeping on the wrong day and be the team that knocks off the Chiefs. I don't see any other team in the league right now playing well enough to do that. I think this is an easy 7-point line. I think you talk about 10-13 is a bad win. 14 plus is what you should expect out of this game.
Yeah, I just, it's it's still a Bill Belichick team. It's still a Bill Belichick defense. They just, everybody opted out for the Patriots is why they're so bad. They had one of the best defenses in the league last year. But it is really hard to take the Patriots just because of their inability to score, and they're predictable. You know what they're going to do, and the Bills can score with anybody. So I'm glad we agree on the last game of this.
We've got Chicago minus 7.5, and we've got the Bills minus 7, and all of the other 10 we disagree on.
Somebody's going to have 3 wins, and someone's going to have 3 losses this week.
Well, I'm already starting off with 3 wins from Thursday and Saturday.
Maybe you'll get to 5.
I'm going to win some of these. Now, Ron, here's the question. Yeah. I don't have a ton on this Eagles game because I think that this is just easy. Do we want to get the Eagles out of the way real quick? We'll take a break after the Eagles. We'll come back and talk basketball.
Yeah, let's go over the line for this game first and give the points on it, and then we'll take a quick break. We'll come down and break it down for 5 to 10 minutes and then move into the Sixers.
Oh, you want to make a pick, or do you want to just give the line and take a break?
Let's make the pick right now, and we'll go into more of an explanation after the break.
All right, who first?
I'll go first. So the line for this game from last night was Cowboys +3. Andy Dalton's played pretty well the last couple weeks. 49ers defense the other day that just shut down Arizona. So it's not an easy game for the Eagles, but I feel like with momentum, I have to take them. They should win. They always play well in December. They always seem to spoil in December. Jalen Hurts is playing well. I'll go into more explanation after the break, but I'm taking the Eagles -3.
I'm also taking the Eagles -3 for my own set of reasons. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break down why we picked the Eagles, and then we'll get into why you're wrong about James Harden.
Do I got to hop back in?
You're in, bud. I just don't got a video. We're on. There you are. Hey, buddy.
Technology. All right.
Hey, buddy.
So let's get into this Eagles-Cowboys game real quick. Me and Justin already had a 20-minute argument that got cut short by possibly you in the car or something like that earlier today.
Phone died, dickbag. Go ahead.
Yeah, you don't charge it at night. So
I don't charge it at night.
You know, yeah, I get it. Andy Dalton, like I said, played well last week against the Niners, and I just watched them shut down Arizona yesterday. Tony Pollard also played pretty well. I think Zeke's playing today. Meanwhile, flip side, the Eagles gave up 400 passing yards to Kyler last week, so not a ton of confidence there. They've struggled with Amari Cooper over the years, and you now see CeeDee Lamb coming in and doing well. I'm taking the Eagles. Just the thing that scares me, if I'm just not sure if the Eagles are good enough this year. We talk about splitting division games, right? I'm just not sure the Eagles are good enough to win multiple times against any team. The Cowboys are an awful defense. They're last in, I think, yards per carry and second to last in rushing yards per game. So I expect Miles Sanders to have a big game. I'm taking the Eagles -3 because I've seen over the years in December when it comes crunch time and it's time to make the playoffs, whether they control their destiny or not, they need a couple teams to lose. They seem to do their part. Like they don't really fall short with a game or two left. And that's just what I've seen over the years. I have a lot of confidence in Jalen Hurts. I also think we have the better defense here. Your thoughts on the game?
So, I mean, I don't disagree with anything that you said. I think Jalen Hurts is the X factor here. I think when you give me the quarterback that's able to make the better play, that can extend the game, that can extend a play, that can get outside the pocket, that can hit with accuracy, you give me two pretty evenly matched teams and a better quarterback. I mean, we say this week in and week out. That's why I pick the way I do.
Yeah.
We've got 2 weeks of Jalen Hurts to know what he presents and what he provides. I don't know that his career is going to be as good as he looks, because right now he looks like Russell Wilson. I don't know that that's what he's going to look like next year, but right now that's what he looks like. Going into this game, Dallas has got to figure it out. They thought that they had the coach. They thought that they had Dakota Prescott as the quarterback. Dak gets hurt. Mike McCarthy's arguably the worst head coach in football. With what he was given as a roster and what this season has been, arguably the worst. I think that Dallas is going to try some shit. I think they're going to try to get a couple of their skill position players into different situations just to try to see what they've got out of this roster. And I think that Jerry Jones is going to need to hit a reset this offseason. I think that Mike McCarthy is going to have to go. I think that Dak Prescott's going to have to get either signed to a short-term deal, and they hope they got him right, or they got to stack up and pay that guy $200 million. And whatever it's going to be, their future is much more murky than the Eagles' future. The Eagles right now, it's pretty simple. If Jalen Hurts comes in and finds a way to will this team with the help that they need into the playoffs, which I am against 100%. I want them to lose today, and I want them to lose next week because I need talent on this roster. But if he does come in and win, you know what you've got, and your picture's clear. Doug stays, Howie stays, you find a way to move on from Carson, and you found your quarterback. Dallas is not that simple. Dallas is much more complicated than that, and they have a lot of moving parts and a lot of money guaranteed to a couple of guys in Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott that just have not been performing this year. So they have a lot of shit to figure out. I think that the turmoil that Dallas is in is an advantage to the excitement that Jalen Hurts has brought out of this roster in Philadelphia, and I think, to me, that's why this is an easy pick. I don't think 3 points is enough. I think that this is the Eagles on paper are a touchdown or better than the Cowboys. I don't know where it ends, but to me, this is going to be a 27-17 type of game where there's a last gasp from Dallas. They move the ball down the field. It looks like they're going to convert, and then the Eagles defense steps up, because I agree with you. I think defensively the Eagles have the better chance here against Dallas than Dallas's defense does against us.
Yeah, and Darius Slay's playing today, so he'll be back in the lineup. Fletcher Cox is playing. He was on the injury report, but he's going to play. Sweat's going to be out today. It's very simple, Eagles fans. If we didn't go over this yet, I think we did it very early in the show. Eagles win today. and the Giants lose to Baltimore today, and the Redskins lose to the Panthers, the Eagles actually control their destiny next week.
They beat the Washington football team. They are the NFC East champions.
Yeah, realistically, what we're looking for in these other games is for Carolina to upset the Washington Redskins, hopefully with Dwayne Haskins as their quarterback. Personally, and you can hope for an upset, I don't want to get into the playoffs. I have no interest in seeing them in the playoffs. I'd rather one of those teams win today, but I'd rather always, Justin, always still beat the Dallas Cowboys, and that's what I'm rooting for.
Hey, you know what my first boss used to say about hope? You can hope in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster. So we got to talk about an argument that we had earlier this morning that I've been trying to avoid fighting with you about because I know that you've got a hard dick for James Harden, and I get it. And I understand why. There'll never come a day where Justin says that Ben Simmons is better than James Harden. It'll never happen because he's not. Even if Ben Simmons starts to shoot the ball and starts averaging 28 a game, he's not better than James Harden.
We know that.
But what he is better than Harden at is a problem if you lose him. So here is my beef. This is my argument, and I'd like your response. If you move Ben Simmons for James Harden, and let's make up a fantasy world where all it takes is Ben Simmons, which is not going to happen. It's going to be Ben Simmons, Shake Milton, Ben Simmons, Furkan. You're going to have to give up another piece.
I would give up another piece, but not Shake.
So I don't disagree with you. I wouldn't give up Matisse Thybulle either, but that's probably what it's going to cost you. So let's pretend that it doesn't cost the second player. This is straight up Ben Simmons for James Harden. Here's the problem. Mm-hmm. The way that Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey have constructed this team is to be successful around Ben's skill set. I don't give a fuck about 17 assists last night. I don't care about his average of 9 across his career. James Harden is not a playmaker. James Harden is an ISO ball handler who gets the ball out of his hands better than anybody when a double team comes. Nicola Yokic is very similar. When Nicola Yokic gets the ball in the post, he can find the open guy a lot easier than a lot of other guys, which is why he also averages 9 assists. You do not have the same playmaking ability from James Harden that you have in Ben Simmons. That's problem A. You have no playmaker on the first unit. Problem A. Problem B, and most importantly, if you give up Ben Simmons and you ask James Harden to play out of position and he plays the 1, and you've got who gives a shit at the 2, 3, and 4, you have absolutely nobody to defend the perimeter against athletic guards. You're not shutting Zach LaVine down anymore. You're not shutting down Kevin Durant. You're not even Kevin Durant's going to score 45 on you every single time you play. You're not going to be able to shut down Kyrie. You have no perimeter defenders because they built this team to have Ben be your premier defender and everybody else around him is to shoot the ball when they're open. That's it. So if you want to acquire James Harden, this is my argument. I don't disagree. If I'm getting James Harden, I'm interested. But what are we bringing back in addition to complete the roster overhaul necessary to bring a guy like that in that doesn't know how to spell defense?
Let me unpack this, because to say that a guy that averages 34 and 9 isn't a good playmaker, we're just going to have to disagree. I don't think there's any point in talking about that. If you want to make
Harden doesn't score 35 points a night, is he still a playmaker?
But he does.
If he doesn't, when James Harden's offensive game starts to slide or he gets locked down, is he still a playmaker? No.
I haven't seen James Harden get locked down for 4 years. Who's locked? All right, listen. If anybody was going to lock down James Harden, it was going to be the Blazers last night, because James Harden left the strip club at 2:00 in the morning, showed up to the game 15 pounds overweight, put up 44 and 17, and tied and went ahead with 15 seconds left in OT. So if we're going to sit here and say that James Harden isn't a playmaker, we should just end the conversation. Let's just throw that away real quick.
How many NBA Finals appearances does James Harden have?
How many conference finals appearances have the Sixers been to with Ben and Joel?
How many NBA Finals appearances has James Harden had?
You can say the same thing for more 78, 80% of the league.
But you're talking about
Giannis hasn't been to one either.
But you're talking about James Harden like he's LeBron James. You want me to believe, you and your group.
There's only one LeBron James. We're not talking about James Harden like LeBron James.
You and your group want me to believe that if James Harden comes to this team, they're instant finals contenders. And they're not.
You're not. Everything has context, right, Just? Everything's got context. Who has James Harden had to go through the last 5 years in order to try? Answer the question. Answer the question. Because there's been no one in the East since LeBron's left, and the Sixers have shit the bed. So who has James Harden had to go through to get to the finals?
Golden State, I'm assuming, is what you're setting me up to.
Okay, and then last year,
the Lakers?
LeBron's Lakers, right?
Sure.
So he was supposed to.
What about the 4 years
because Golden State? He was a sixth man. He wasn't James Harden yet. That was not.
Whoa! Don't rewrite history. The day that James Harden left Oklahoma City, he was the starting two guard in Houston. Houston built that franchise around James Harden. James Harden.
What year was that? What year was that?
James Harden was in Houston for 3 years while Kevin Durant was still with the Thunder.
Yes.
And did nothing.
Yeah, it was the first time he was ever handed a franchise. Giannis, nobody's done that. You get a franchise and then you just take him to the finals. LeBron does that. That's it. Nobody else does that, Justin. Nobody else in the history of the NBA just goes to a team and gets to the finals. Only LeBron in the history of the entire NBA has done that.
So why should I trust you and all of your acolytes of James Harden when you tell me that when James Harden comes to the Sixers, you're an instant finals contender?
Because he's a top 25 player ever right now and a top 5 scoring player of all time. Probably top 3. There is no one better at putting the ball into the hoop as James Harden is. If James Harden gets one championship in his career, he's automatically a top 20 player. Automatically.
You said he's a top 5 scorer ever right now.
Ever. Not even close. You can't name 4 better than James Harden. And everybody that talks about NBA anywhere can see that.
Playing right now.
Kevin Durant and who?
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry's not a better scorer than James Harden. He's not. He gives you more spacing because he can shoot a 3 from 6 feet behind the line. He's not a better scorer. 6'2" Steph Curry can't get it.
If you put Steph Curry in Houston by himself,
what's Steph Curry doing right now without Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant?
If you put Steph Curry in Houston by himself at 24 years old, like you did,
Steph Curry has better players right now in where he is.
Are you going to keep interrupting, or are you going to hear the question?
Because you're making dumb points. Who is better in Houston right now than the Warriors have besides James Harden? Who? One person.
We're talking about
one person.
We're talking. Right. Who gives a fuck who else is there? I'm not talking about the supporting cast.
You just said, though.
You asked me about scorers. If Steph Curry at 24 years old is the only player on his team, like James Harden was, Steph Curry develops into an entirely different player, like Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard developed into what he is because he's got CJ McCollum and nothing. And at the very best, CJ McCollum is a top 8 to 10 two-guard in this league. So Damian Lillard taught himself how to be an ISO playmaker and be able to score 50 points a game and beat teams in the playoffs that he shouldn't. Damian Lillard scores like James Harden does. You cannot make a statement.
Harden's a better scorer.
You cannot make a statement that a guy who's never been to an NBA Finals, a guy that's never won an NBA Finals, is a top 5 scorer of all time.
You're talking about trading him for a guy that can't get out the semis.
Wilt was a better scorer. Shaq was a better scorer. Kobe was a better scorer. Michael was a better scorer. That's 4 already.
No.
And do you know what all those guys have in common? They won a championship.
Shaq was more dominant, or Shaq was a better scorer?
Shaq was more dominant, which created him.
Okay, he wasn't a better scorer.
Holy fucking shit. Holy fuck. Dude, my point to you is, I agree with you. James Harden is a better player than Ben Simmons. The context that you're leaving out is this roster has not been built to support James Harden. It's been built to support Ben Simmons. So if you're going to acquire Harden, you need to rebuild the team.
Okay. So let me ask you a question.
Danny Green and Seth Curry do not help James Harden.
Let me ask you a question.
You can defend like Ben does.
So Seth Curry and Danny Green do not benefit from more spacing on the floor. That's what you're telling me.
For the love of fuck. Seth Curry had 18 points last night. How much more do you think Seth Curry's capable of?
Not much more at all.
He's an 18-point-a-night scorer at the tippity top.
If you're lucky, yeah. Right? If you're lucky, sure.
Right. So
he's not really even a starter.
Seth Curry's not even a starter.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to get more out of Seth Curry.
No, you're not.
Danny Green is 35 years old. He doesn't have a lot left to give. No, I'm not going to get more out of Dwight Howard at 36. No,
you would change your rotation and starting lineup if you got Harden.
Not only am I not going to get more, I'm also then taking points away from my top 3 big man with no help around him.
James Harden's making Christian Wood look like an all-star. Are you not watching Houston? Do you not watch Houston at all?
Is Kyrie Irving looking as good as he is because of Kevin Durant or because Kyrie Irving's so good?
Well, Kyrie Irving's great, but he's
not as good as what he looks like with Kevin Durant, correct?
But there's more spacing, and Kevin Durant's a great scorer.
Kevin Durant is a scoring threat, right?
Yes, so is James Harden.
Would you rather make Kyrie earn his buckets inefficiently, which he does, and take the ball out?
He's not guarding Kyrie. He's guarding KD because he's 6'11".
No, shut the fuck up. You just brought up Christian Wood. You said that Christian Wood looks like an all-star because James Harden can give you 50 every night. So what do they do?
The floor and he's getting easy buckets.
They leave Christian Wood alone, who's 6'10" and can defend the perimeter. Not Danny Green, not Seth Curry. They have a different dynamic to the offense. There's a different dynamic to that team. I'm going to say it again because I don't think you're hearing me. I agree with you that James Harden is a better player.
Well, you're telling me they can't. You're telling me they can't adjust the rotation.
You don't have the personnel. You need to tell me who on this roster takes the spot of Ben as the primary wing defender on the first unit. Who is it? And if you say Danny Green, I'm going to close the fucking computer. Danny Green can't play right like that anymore. It's not Matisse Thybulle.
No, you still have Thybulle. You can insert Thybulle and put Seth Curry with the second unit if you want.
Thybulle gives you 8 points of offense, no rebounds. That's what he gives you right now. That's who Matisse Thybulle is. So we agree that Ben for Harden would be a positive. Where we disagree is, where is the rest? You're asking me to take the better scorer, which we agree about, and give up the defense, the playmaking abilities, and the style.
Let me ask you this, Justin.
How am I guarding Giannis?
Let me ask you this.
How am I guarding Kevin Durant?
Let me ask you this, though. First of all, we've watched Giannis in the playoffs. He still can't shoot, right? So the majority of what Giannis does is around the basket. You still have Dwight Howard and Embiid there all day. I'm not worried about Giannis. I'm worried about Kevin Durant. But the thing is, you can't really go inside on the Sixers because they have 2 great centers. So even if you swap positions, I know you lose some obviously a large amount of defense on the perimeter. But in order for teams to beat you for 7 games in a series, they're going to have to make a lot of outside shots.
You're asking me to give up all of my perimeter defense and telling me I'm going to get better.
But the team that they're playing is going to have to score on a regular basis from the outside to beat them. Brooklyn
can do that. Miami can do that. The Lakers can do that. There's a ton of teams that can do that.
They don't need Ben Simmons to guard Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, though. They can do that from the outside. They're 3-point shooters. The only person in the East, if you want to keep Ben Simmons for the sole purpose of guarding Kevin Durant, that's on you. We got Horford for the sole reason of guarding Giannis.
Whoa. First of all, hold on a second. Don't start conflating shit that didn't have anything to do with each other. We got Al Horford, so we didn't have to lose to Boston. That's why we got Al Horford. Don't mince that a little bit. We got Al Horford to take him away from Boston.
But he did well on Giannis, too.
Number two, I'm not telling you that Ben's defense is more important than Harden's offense. What I'm telling you is you cannot take away all of the perimeter defense and add scoring and think you're better.
That's not all of the perimeter defense.
Holy fuck.
Answer my question. I'm answering everything that you're saying every time you say it.
Who is the perimeter defender on the first unit?
Danny Green.
35-year-old Danny Green.
Yeah, he's been a good defender his whole career.
35-year-old Danny Green is going to make a difference against a hot Tyler Hero in the playoffs. against
it's
a hot Kyrie
game.
Irving in the playoffs.
One guy doesn't run side to side and guard the whole perimeter. It's part of Doc's scheme. It's part of the defensive coaching. It's part of your rotation. You don't need one guy. Like, you can lose a guy if you're getting points and can run a half-court offense.
The other part that you're leaving out of this, which I know that most of you James Harden fucking lovers don't want to talk about, is James Harden is 31 years old.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden's 31. So at his very best, because he does come in after the strip club at 2 a.m. 15 pounds overweight, and he doesn't give a shit about his career. He doesn't care about his teammates. He doesn't give a fuck about winning. He wants to be the best, the next Michael Jordan. That's what James Harden wants, which I'm fine with. You want to be the guy. I got Joel Embiid. I understand that personality. I don't know how to work on the same team, but whatever. You're going to try to tell me that 2 to 3 years maximum out of James Harden is worth giving up the next 13 of Ben Simmons. That doesn't make sense.
You think Ben Simmons is going to be here for 13 years?
Okay, all right. I'm going to try to say it again so maybe you comprehend and understand.
That's what you just said, right?
You've got maximum 3 seasons of James Harden's prime left.
Yes.
Ben Simmons is 24 years old. You have 10 years of Ben Simmons, who's a much better athlete, who's in much better shape. So yes, you're going to take 3 years to give up an additional 10.
So this is another place that we disagree in, because I don't see Ben Simmons staying here when his contract's up. I think he's going to go to a place like LA. I really do. I think he's going to go to a bigger market. It's already been talked about over the last couple of years, especially with his connection with Magic Johnson and LeBron James.
It was talked about before he signed the max here that he was going to go. Wait a minute. It was talked about him going to LA to play with LeBron, which the only way that works is Ben moving from the 1 to the 4. Anthony Davis is the 4 in LA for the next 10 years.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So LeBron James retires in 4 years, and Ben Simmons steps in and plays with Anthony Davis. Of course he took a max deal, Justin. Of course Ben Simmons took the max. Why wouldn't he take the max? He's 24.
So let's make up a world where the Sixers over the course of the next 4 years make it to an NBA Finals and compete with the Lakers. Let's make up a world where it happens. And Ben Simmons has a roster built around him similar to what he's got, but it's obviously going to have to be a little bit better, where he has scorers and all his job is to rebound the basketball and get it to open guys. And they compete for a championship. I don't give a fuck if Rich Paul's his agent. Every player that Rich Paul represents does not play with LeBron James.
They go there a lot.
That is a false paradigm that people want to create to cause strife. There is no reason that Ben Simmons does not want to play his career with Joel Embiid. There's no reason. How about this? We just said the other day, you and I on the phone, that Ben is a prima donna, right? He's got an attitude problem. He wants to be the man, right? What the fuck makes you think that he wants to go be behind not only LeBron's ego, but also Anthony Davis's? Why would he ever do that to himself?
He's not going to go play with LeBron. He's going to go when LeBron leaves after his contract's up and go play with Anthony Davis.
And if you want me to believe that outcome, I'm going to present you a different one that I think is far more likely. The Lakers find a way to get where they need to be in draft capital. They draft Bronny to replace LeBron, and they don't need a fucking point guard.
They're going to be too good.
More likely.
No, that's not more likely at all.
Then Ben Simmons leaving a town where he is the number 2. It's less likely.
Ben Simmons is going to LA, bro. No, he's going when the contract's up. There's no shot that he's staying in. Why would you stay at 29 years old with Ben Simmons' stature and all the money he has and stay in Philadelphia? That doesn't make any sense. Players move now. They're not loyal to one team.
This has nothing to do with being loyal to a team. This has nothing to do. But wait, before you go, one more thing. This has nothing to do with being loyal to Philadelphia. This has to do with you want to win championships. And
he's not going to.
And what team puts you in the best position? And if you surround Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid with shooters with a really good second unit, which they have now, you could be the king of the East. Why would I want to go be third fucking fiddle in LA when I can run the team that runs the East?
The fundamental point that we disagree on, Justin, is that a Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons led basketball team is going to get to the finals. That's just where we disagree. And that's why this conversation is impossible to have.
Who beats them?
The Miami beats them. The Nets beat them. Milwaukee beats them.
If this team is fully healthy, how does Miami beat them?
Is the East better or worse than last year?
That's a good question. I think Milwaukee's weaker. I think Milwaukee is weaker.
Good question.
It is a good question. Markelle Fultz just got $60 million, bro. Do I believe now the Magic are contenders?
They finished 6th last year. The Pacers are completely healthy with Sabonis, Oladipo, and Warren. Miami's better. Hold on. Miami's better. Milwaukee's better. The Nets are better and have KD. Yes, I do. I think that they're going to.
Wait a minute.
This team is going to compete with the Pacers for seeding.
Stop the bus, motherfucker. I'll go pull. I got receipts. You just said Milwaukee's better? Because I remember a couple of weeks ago when we talked about Milwaukee, we agreed they got weaker. So which side of your mouth are we going to talk about?
Their bench got weaker.
Their bench got weaker. Milwaukee got worse. Yes or no?
Yeah, but they're still better than the Sixers.
How?
They're still better than the Sixers.
Listen,
because guys are better than anyone they have.
Here's when this goes to bed. When the Philadelphia Sixers play Miami and win, play Brooklyn and win, and play Milwaukee and win, I don't have to hear your fucking ridiculous argument.
I'll stop. They have to do it in the playoffs as well. We'll see on the 23rd of January. We'll see where this team's at because they have Miami twice, they have Boston twice, they have Orlando once, and they have a couple other pretty tough teams. So we'll see on the 23rd of January where they're at.
Call Orlando a tough team?
No, they're not tough, but they're not horrible. They're not a horrible basketball team.
So who's the bad teams in the East if it's not the Orlando Magic?
The two we just played. There's more, but the two we just played are really bad.
And Orlando's good.
I didn't say they were good. I can guarantee at the end of this year, the Sixers will be competing with the Pacers for seeding. I really believe that. I think they'll be competing with the Pacers for seeding. I don't think they're better than Miami.
Hold on. I got to address this point. Let's be honest about what's happening in Milwaukee right now. Chris Middleton is the guy that's going to average 20. Drew Holiday does not have the ability to score 20 points a game and be the third option, which is what he is. Drew Holiday was brought in to stop teams like Brooklyn. The reason why Drew Holiday was acquired is because they need to find a way to match up against Kyrie because they're going to count on Giannis against Kevin Durant. Drew Holiday is not going to average 20 points a game. He will be the main defender of the perimeter, which will open up Chris Middleton's game. But you're not getting 20 points per game out of Drew Holiday. It's not happening. Don't count on it. Bet it if you can. It's not going to happen.
He can average it, but he's not going to. There's too much.
That's my point. My point is it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So we just disagree on Ben and Joel being able to win together and get to a finals, but we'll see how that plays out.
You haven't presented me any evidence with why. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, Ben can't shoot. I don't give a fuck if Ben shoots. If I have 3 shooters in Joel Embiid, all I need from Ben Simmons is 14 points a game, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. I don't need a shot.
Well, this is the question I answered for you. You said, what would you need to see from Ben Simmons? And the first thing you went to was you need him to average 30 points a game. No, I don't need Ben. Ben Simmons can have the same exact point per game average that he does right now. I wouldn't care. My issue with Ben Simmons is if you have a defender playing 10 feet off of him, your whole half-court offense collapses. That's my point. If you want to play Ben Simmons not at the three-point line and don't want to get up and get a hand in his face, fine. But you have to be able to draw the defense 5 feet closer to you than where they are because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You can't get by playoff teams.
We don't know how much of that problem existed inside of Brett Brown's scheme, which I'm not going to sit here and try to defend and say that it was all of it. Obviously, Ben needs to take some shots and keep the defense honest. That has to happen. But we haven't seen what a good coach like Doc Rivers can do to scheme that player into a half-court offense. That again, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah,
I understand it was a defensive lapse that created Ben wide open under the bucket against Washington, but it happened. And it's because the Sixers executed their offense and the other team failed to execute the defense. That is what a sport is. A sport is execution. It doesn't have to do with better talent or fucking James Harden will win a scoring title every year and be a fucking 7-time champion.
Well, but execution plus the talent does it. But to have a point forward that can't shoot the ball or won't shoot the ball.
Well, hold on. That's the problem with what you just said. He's not a point forward. He's a point guard. If he were a point forward and we had 3 guards around him, this would be an entirely different offense. And it's not, because that's not what they built.
Yeah, for me, again, the only thing that I want to see by the end of this year is Ben's main defender playing somewhat close to him. That's it. Because I can't imagine a Sixers team that doesn't go through the offensive droughts in the half court that they go through. I mean, when they're on the break, man, I'll take Ben Simmons over almost anyone in the league, but LeBron and Giannis and a couple other guys. But the issue remains when guys like Ben Simmons and Giannis are in the half court, their offense can struggle at times. And to beat a team, like the Lakers or even like Brooklyn, you have to be able to hit on all parts. And I can't have Ben's main defender.
Maybe Doc Rivers, come playoff time, creates an offense in the half court that has Ben off the ball and a guard on it, and then your problems are solved. Then you don't need to worry about anything else.
You should just go coach the Sixers, bud. You just got
we've been saying this for years with Ben Simmons. Ben needs to play the point forward. Doc Rivers is a guy with enough clout to make him. Brett Brown's not making Ben Simmons do anything he doesn't want to do.
I just don't see how. We obviously we agree that Doc Rivers is going to be able to get more out of this team than Brett Brown would get out of any team in the NBA. He can have any roster, and Doc Rivers is going to get more out of this team. The problem is, if you wouldn't shoot, like, why would a coach be able to bring out of you shooting if you're a basketball player? Like, your job is to play basketball, so a coach is supposed to come in and bring the shot out of you? That's 50% of basketball. Like, I don't get it, Justin. It pisses me off.
Tori, the very next time I hear the word Giannis come out of your fucking mouth, it better be that Giannis has to spread the floor for Milwaukee to win. Because I'm tired of hearing it about Ben. I'm tired of this fucking one-sided, everybody hates Philadelphia, Ben Simmons can't shoot. Neither the fuck can Giannis. And everybody wants me to believe that Giannis is an MVP because he's the only guy on his team that can put a fucking ball in the bucket. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I don't give a shit. The Sixers do not need Ben Simmons to shoot or spread the floor to win a championship. They need scorers, and they need him to be the primary distributor. That's it. Rajon Rondo has won championships. Couldn't shoot for 15
but he shot. He couldn't, but he did.
Aaron, sign us off. I'm going to have a fucking heart attack.
We'll be back on Wednesday. One of us is going to have a great record. One of us is going to have an awful record. We'll see how it plays out. Justin, I'm actually going to take a break from some football today, and I'm going to go back and watch most of the games tomorrow because I need to get away from some screen time being down here in Kerala for the last 4 days and literally sitting in bed and watching sports all day. So we'll catch up about these after the game. I'll come back and see what my record is. Any closing thoughts for this Eagles game and the rest of the Sunday games? The Eagles should win. If they don't, it's a massive disappointment. We only agree on 2 out of 12, so somebody's going to be really fucking bad this week. I started off the early games 3-1. Ron, you're 1-3, right? We went opposite. Yep, yes.
Yep. So I've got a couple of games to be able to give up here. So hopefully I win enough to stay competitive.
It's funny that the week started off lopsided the way it did, and then all the picks went the other way. I love it. I mean, I love this so much that if I have a 5 and whatever the fuck it is week, it's going to be funny on Wednesday. We'll be back with you guys on Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see what happens with these Sixers, with these Eagles. Justin, have a good rest of your day. And everybody, big facts on all networks and streaming platforms. We will see you guys then.